The tacos again?
Yeah. And what do you want?
And do you have the potatoes, the breakfast potatoes?
Like the hash brown or?
Yeah, hash brown.
Oh no, like the potatoes, the breakfast potatoes.
Got you potatoes?
Potato wedges or which one?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused because I know there's hash browns.
Bacon cheddar potato wedges? Bacon cheddar potato wedges?
Nah, it's the breakfast. I guess I ain't
No,
got.
we only have like the hash browns,
They don't think I have
potato wedges, and fries.
Shack Radio. Tune in and tap into the wavelength.
For sure. Word.
What's up? It's your girl, Turfer Girl, aka TG9 Millie. Man, I'm tired, man. Late night, early morning, but gotta clock in.
Yo, it's Rodrigo Perez. Mixed greens. Shit, I'm here.
Well said. For sure, but damn. Yo, this is crazy. I'm just looking at this article right now. Hong Kong protests, knife attacker bites man's ear off.
What?
Then, after stabbing at least four people have been injured in a knife attack at the site of a pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong. Damn.
What side was he on?
What side was he on? I think he's on the side of trying to be liberated, because basically what's going on is Japan, they're trying to take it to the next step of their democracy and shit, so they're having these protests, like protesting the government and shit.
You said Japan?
Yeah, in Japan, Hong Kong. The South China Morning Post quoted another victim, a woman, as saying
in China, bro.
the suspect. That's what I said. What I said, Japan.
Japan,
Oh,
shit, bro.
right. When I was in Japan, people in Japan are like, nigga, what you say? But
They ain't
no,
beefing
yeah,
out there. They ain't beefing in Japan.
Yeah. But see, it's like I was talking to like Juan yesterday about this shit. It's like, they're trying to protest, but the protesters are actually getting violent, like they're like throwing Molotov cocktails and shit at the cops.
That's never good. Like, if they're really truly democratic, trying to get democracy, why would they do violence?
That's what I'm saying.
Because they're trying to turn them to communists. They haven't met that mark. They have a contract. They're trying to, it's barely 50 years into the contract. They're trying to make them turn to a communist. They got their own job. They got their own government. They're like a little city in China, bro. They got their own government. They're not part of the communist thing. They're not censored, bro. So now they're just trying to be communizing them, right? Basically.
Damn.
Alright, to give some background information, the 2019 Hong Kong protests, also known as the Anti-Extradition Law Amendment Bill movement, are an ongoing series of demonstrations in Hong Kong which were triggered by the introduction of the Fugitive Offenders Amendment Bill by the Hong Kong government. That really doesn't explain too much of what I'm trying to figure out. Anti-government protests have erupted. Here are all the backgrounds you need to know. Alright. Hong Kong's protest started in June against proposals to allow extradition to mainland China. Extradition means basically when you fuck up, they're going to send you to China, basically, right? Like, they're kicking you out. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what extradition means. Critics feared this could undermine the city's judicial independence and endanger dissidents. I'm not familiar with what that word is. No, dissidents. Until 1997, Hong Kong was a British colony, meaning it was controlled by Britain. Since returning to Chinese rule, it has more autonomy than the mainland and its people more rights. The arrangement is known as one country, two systems. So that's what you were talking about, basically, how Hong Kong is separated so from the rest of China, and they kind of are under a different, ruling system. City leader Carrie Lam agreed to suspend the extradition bill, but demonstrations developed to include demands for full democracy and inquire into police actions. So basically, they're trying to turned fully democratic,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, they're also protesting because of what the police are doing. Because what Juan was explaining to me is for the first time they're actually using like non-lethal force against people, like beanbags and fucking like
Bro.
tear gas and shit like that. Yeah, and I guess it's kind of shocking to the people that they're like, you feel me? Why are you guys doing that and shit? But so like I was like, what's your opinion? Do you feel like it's a bad thing for cops to use non-lethal force, you know what I'm saying, when people are going crazy, you know what I'm saying, like kind of uncontrollable? Because they like tripping right now, like, what do you mean you're shooting us with beanbags? But it's like, bro, you getting out of hand, what else is the government to do to try to keep you in check? They're not going to come by and fucking try to, you know, shake your hand, you know, because obviously you're in protest mode, you ain't trying to listen to nobody, you know?
I mean, if you're causing like recklessness, if you're being reckless, you're just asking for it or whatever.
True.
So whatever you get, don't even be mad.
Right.
This is breaking the
Yeah.
law.
I feel like with any protest, you gotta have a clear agenda in mind.
Right.
And make sure you're not out there just wilding out.
Right.
Like,
Because that's
I don't
different. That's
know.
not
Right. No, and I definitely agree with that. Like I was mentioning yesterday, it's like what made you know, Gandhi's movement successful, what made Martin Luther King's movement successful was the fact that they stayed non-violent no matter what, under any circumstances, bro. You know, they were unleashing dogs on people, hitting them with fire extinguisher, fucking water hoses and shit, you know,
Fire
using
hoses.
lethal force. People are actually getting murdered in the street, damn near by cops and actual people, and no matter what, they decided to turn the other cheek. Because it's like, that truly shows the nature of your enemy. If you're willing to hit somebody and abuse them, you know, and they're not even turning any violence towards you, you really got no grounds to stand on. It's like, bro, you're fucking evil, like, this is inhumane, you know, and I think it'll cause the movement to move quicker, as opposed to like, oh, let me meet force with force. Because now that's what they're doing over here in Japan. Like, they're breaking down, throwing Molotov
China.
cocktails. Yeah, you
China.
feel me?
China.
Oh, shit. China, yeah, not Japan, China. But yeah, you know, and then that's escalating the situation, you feel me? So I think if they really are trying to be serious about this movement, they need to have some restraint, you know what I'm saying? They're kind of acting like,
They're trying to force it.
yeah, you know?
Yeah, and because China, their protest is like so different than the protest from out here.
Right.
Because they have so many people out
That's
there.
what I'm saying, and
They
that's
have-
why
yeah,
they've got the
they
numbers on their
outnumbered,
side,
yeah,
bro. They've got the numbers on their
So
side.
with these protests, just have a clear agenda. Make sure you're not just
Yeah.
out there just fighting for,
Right.
you know, man. It's
Nah,
crazy because they got the power, but
Anywhere in any
Right.
country, like the people have the power as long as like they can group together.
No, that's very true.
And there's
That's
got to be
very true.
leaders to do that. There's gotta be
Right,
people
right.
to do that.
You gotta be responsible. But it's like, imagine that hype, you know, multiplied by a million. Like, they shut down, Juan was telling me they shut down the airplanes yesterday. I mean,
China?
yeah, everybody fucking protested, and they all went to the
Airport.
airport. Yeah, that's what it's called. And they basically
See, now they're just
disrupted the whole
fucking
shit.
shit up.
That's hella money that's lost revenue, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
they really
Big
came out.
loss.
It's like 2 million people protesting right now in fucking China right now.
2 billion
Damn.
for sure.
So out of the
What?
2 million, there's bound to be some people who are gonna like overdo it. You know?
That is also
Boy.
true.
Yeah.
A couple people on the brink.
Yeah.
But you know, if Martin Luther King, they were able to do it, there was millions of people,
Right.
like the Million Man March, like they definitely had numbers, so it's definitely possible.
Who's like leading this?
I don't even
Right.
fucking know. I don't even fucking
Who
know.
started this? Who's like actually like the
What's
head of
this?
it?
And
If
what's,
any.
and what's their agenda? Like, what do they want from the fighting?
Right,
Is
Because
well,
I
there a
understand
specific-
there does come a time where you have to fight,
no doubt.
but
Right. Because that could be what the government needs for them to really change. But you never know.
They're fighting
Yeah.
for their
Oh yeah,
independence.
because this is also what's crazy. During a tussle, a cop actually ended up shooting somebody, and like they were injured and shit. It says clashes between police and activists have become increasingly violent, with police firing live bullets and protesters attacking officers and throwing petrol bombs. Like, you're asking to get fucked up at that point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Shot somebody.
you're actually trying to kill a cop. The cop is just there trying to do his job. Obviously, y'all coming out in droves.
And that's just humans being like humans, like animals.
this is crazy.
But I
This
think they're
is
smart enough to
interesting.
have some restraint. If we were able to do it and rally together, I mean, I think they should, you know, have enough sense to do that shit. And they have more, like, you know,